do people condemn what they conceal? In the 90s and just throughout, so there were so many things that happened. So when I was growing up, it was a big thing for the Christian churches to say Satanists are pedophiles and they torture kids and they kill them, all this stuff. And then it came out that like certain towns in Colorado were like the almost like the meccas of pedophilia, child molestation, and things like that. And they were centered in evangelical Christian churches. And then it came out that the Catholic Church was one of the biggest pedophile rings on earth. Uh, and it was being covered up, things like that, by popes. Then during the 90s, you also had these pastors that were like, God, hates the gay people and they're gonna burn in hell. And then you find out that they're like closeted homosexuals. Uh, you know, they're over there getting their jollies with men, and then the next morning they're preaching about how everybody's gonna burn in hell for it. And then you have so many instances like this where uh, there are people that are condemning to death and saying all these harsh and terrible things about these uh, others that they consider to be bad people, when in reality, secretly, they conceal these behaviors, they conceal these sins. So, which they, in some cases, are probably a problem, but we'll talk about that. So often what happens is we hate what we're hiding. We actually hate and condemn and judge what we're hiding. And we try to show, it's just like when Peter, and this is the wonderful thing about the Bible, when they said, you follow Jesus, and Peter denied Jesus 3 times. It's like, no, I don't follow him. He's not my friend. I don't know anything about him. He's not, I don't know. He's a knucklehead, right? Peter denied Christ 3 times when the rooster crowed. Of course, it's an esoteric meaning in there. But so um, Peter's a great example of how we condemn and hide the very thing, condemn the very thing that we're concealing, the very thing that we are. And so today's video is going to talk about why do we hate and condemn the very things that we hide, how we can stop doing that, and some solutions to it all. Because it makes no sense for us to torment ourselves um, by pointing out people in the world and saying, oh, these people are bad and they're wrong and they're evil and we should, send them to the chair or in their lives, whatever. So today, let's talk about it. So why do we judge and condemn? And I'm saying I'm going to include myself in that. All of us do it to some extent. I hate it when people are stupid. Like one of the most frustrating and infuriating experiences for me is dealing with someone who lacks intelligence. And the reason for that is because there was a time in my life where I was constantly told that I wasn't intelligent. I was, um, all of that stuff. And so what I found is I've gotten over that because I don't feel as bad about those people. But what I realized was there was an insecurity within myself about my level of intelligence. And so when I encountered people that I deemed to be stupid, I condemned them. And I thought to myself, oh, these people are unworthy of life. Like literally, those were thoughts that came to my mind. Like anyone that's this stupid shouldn't be alive. And so, again, it was in a frustrated moment where I needed help and didn't have it because the person I was dealing with lacked the rudimentary levels of intelligence to provide the assistance they were being paid to provide. I digress. And so, the truth of it is that we judge in the world what we fear in ourselves. We judge in the world what we fear in ourselves. We hate in the world what we hate in ourselves. And so, we'll get up in the chat because I can actually read the chat now. Conquest says, where's Mark? So there are a lot of times in the world when you find someone that says, oh, those people are evil and we need to wipe them off the face of this earth, or, oh, racist people this. People that tend to condemn and vilify a group of people are often hiding the fact that they know that that group of people is a reflection of them. So all of this comes from harbored desires, hidden dreams, hidden things that were never fulfilled. If they're a pastor that condemns all gay people and says, oh, they're going to burn in hell and da 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 da, God hates gay people, that sort of thing, which was common in the 90s and 80s, it's because often they were probably part of, they were probably sexually divergent in the sense that they were not part of the heteronormative group. And they knew that. They knew they were gay, or they knew they were on that spectrum, and they hid that. And the best way to hide it is to condemn it and say, oh, those people are evil. I would kill them. And blah, 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 right? They're evil, and burn them at the stake, right? So often that's how it happens. You know, Peter in the Bible, he said, I don't know anything about Jesus. He rejected Jesus. He denied Christ 3 times. But he was one of the main disciples of Christ. Like, he was his closest one. It's a psychological phenomenon that occurs when people are hating on something that they fear in themselves, they harbor within themselves. And so notice that. I've heard people say, oh, we should kill all the pedophiles, we set them on fire. Anytime I hear that, I'm like, do you harbor desires toward children, like little children? Because if you're that harsh on it, I understand. I mean, I think there's some validity to the horrors of what that practice has. But if you want to solve the problem, you got to go a little deeper than just killing all the people that are bad guys, right? You got to understand it. You have to fix the problem, not just kill the people that are a part of it. So people that have that kind of response are typically hiding or harboring those feelings within themselves. And so how do we stop the problem? Like, how do we stop judging or hating or condemning people like that? Like, how do we get over it? We have to recognize the neutrality of life. Life is completely neutral. It does not mean that everything is relative. It does not mean that child abuse is okay. It does not mean that it's neutral in that sense, in a moral sense, because it's actually morally reprehensible. It's morally objectionable. It's evil to do those things, right? It's absolutely evil to abuse children that way. However, everything in life is actually neutral in the greater sense of things. When you look at animals in the forest, this is one of the things I've had to learn, you know, just living in life and being in the jungle and seeing things like this. Life is just what it is. It's just what it is. Now, in the human society and the human experience, there are objectively moral things, right? Those things exist. But life is truly neutral. God's law is unbreakable. It's unbreakable. You cannot break God's law, but you can break man's rules. So gravity is a law of God. The fact that fire will burn anything that is not resilient to it is a law of God. Like, fire will burn anything, it will burn anything up that is not resilient to it. So it won't burn up metal, it won't burn up stone, but it'll burn grass, it'll burn people, it'll burn everything, right? Anything that is weaker than fire will be destroyed by it. That's a law of God. You can't, there's no way to stop that, all right? But, you know, don't work on the Sabbath. That's not a law of God. Even if it is in the 10 Commandments, that's not God's law. Those aren't God's laws. God's laws are laws that cannot be broken. Okay? For instance, a baby cannot get pregnant. That's a law of God. That's why children and that sort of activity don't mix. Right? That's a law of God. A squirrel can't mate with a cow. Law of God. Can't happen. You can go to a lab and you can splice them, but that's not mating. Okay? So God's laws are true laws. They cannot be broken. Man's rules can be broken. Don't speed past 35 miles an hour. That's a rule of man. You can break that. You drive 40 miles an hour. You just broke that law. It's not a law. It's actually a man's rule. Most of the rules of people can be broken and should be broken. The 10 Commandments are not 10 commandments. There's 10 statements of observations. They're really 10 observations. Like, God's people that follow the highest apex path do these 10 things. They honor their father and their mother. They know God is one God. They do all that other stuff. They don't lie. They don't cheat. They don't kill. They don't, right? Those are the children of the Most High. But those are not laws. Like, you need to don't kill anybody. That's not a law of God. That's just a rule of man. So we have to be able to understand, first of all, that life is neutral, that God's law is unbreakable. You cannot break God's law. And man's rules can be broken. And in some cases, they should be broken. And you see with many of people in history, Martin Luther King and others, people like that, they broke the rules, right? They broke the rules, human rules, and they did so for various reasons. Okay. And then finally, are there solutions? Like, are there solutions to, let's say you hate stupid people? Like in my case, I do not like people who have low IQ. Unless they are autistic or they have mental retardation or Down syndrome or something like that. I love those people. I think they're smarter than most 90% of society. The people that historically I've had problems with are people that just toe the line. They have greater intelligence, but they choose to use their intelligence to be as stupid as possible. And so how would I'm going to use myself as an example. How would I come to terms with the fact that I condemn or judge those people and then find harmony in that path? Well, first of all, I have to come to terms with the fact that as a child, I wanted to be stupid. I wanted to be dumb like everybody else. And I'm not going to fix that. I wanted to be stupid and dumb like everybody else. 80, we'll say 95% of people are not that bright. And it's not because they don't have the ability, it's because they lack the courage. They lack the courage. After age 5, people dumb down. They say, what's everybody else doing? I don't want to be ostracized. I don't want to be treated like shit. I don't want to be yelled at. I don't want to be laughed at. I don't want to be looked down upon. So let me just do what everybody else is doing. That's what created this 9 to 5 thing that's going to burst very soon. There's so many people are relying on that, and it's done. It's been done. So, oh God, it's going to be a thing. So how do we find a harmonious path to overcome that? In my case, with people that are unintelligent, and not because they don't have the tools, it's because they choose not to. I have to come to terms with the fact that as a child, I wanted to be like that. I wanted to be stupid. I wanted to be a follower of the crowd. I wanted to fit in. In order to fit in, I had to be stupid. I had to be dumb. I had to dumb down. I had to talk with the slang, talk like yo, 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 yo. I had to talk like that. I had to. Now I can emulate those sorts of accents, but I had to do that in order to fit in. So I have to go back and say, little version of me, I love you. I know you want to fit in and be stupid like everybody else, but there's something greater for you. Okay? So there is a harmonious path to fulfillment. For the people, let's take the pastor who hates all gay people, right? Come to terms with the fact that you're probably a closeted gay person, probably closet lesbian or closet whatever, gay guy or whatever. Come to terms with that. Understand and say, this is something that I desired. This is something I wanted, but I judge it. I think it's wrong. And then you go right to God. Now, I know this is going to sound really weird and crazy, but I'll just say it. This is for Apex humans. It's not going to sound weird to you guys. You guys get it. So let me not try and, there's my inner child saying, let me make this palatable to people that don't get it. So the first thing is to ask God for wisdom. And that means saying, Lord, listen, I judge these people. And I realize that there's a part of me that conceals the fact that I want to be like them or that I am like them. And I judge that. So help me to understand this. Help me to come to peace with this. I had to come to peace with that. I literally felt like, can we create concentration camps for like stupid people where we just put them all there and test them for life? I'm gonna say it. Like again, this is a thought in my head. I didn't say anything out loud. I'm saying it here. I was like, can we just like put all the stupid people in like a camp and have them take a test that their life depends on? And if they don't pass, sorry, you know. But I was so mad at that lawyer. Um, see, I hope that helps somebody. Um, but like, I think you got to tap into God and say, yo, I am challenged by the fact that I have such strong negative feelings toward this group of people or toward this sort of action or so this sort of thing in life. Help me, Lord, to understand that. Because the hatred and the anger that I feel in my heart about the situation, about this group of people, whatever, actually is taking away from my joy in life. I'll give an example. I was a kid at a school predominantly white. I was literally the 1% of Marian type people there. Uh, I was like 1.5% Marian because there was me and then there was a girl that was mixed. So she was like the 0.5%. And so there was a guy there that looked like he was like an octoroon or something like that. Like his great grandfather or somebody was some sort of African or something. And he was like hung out with the neo-Nazi kids. And generally, the neo Nazis, the regular not white neo Nazis, were kind of cool. I'm gonna be honest. Like they would chant white power and call me nigger every once in a while. No big deal. But this guy had a violent hatred for me, and I would look at him and I'm like, "You're mixed, bro. You look like my cousins." I didn't say that because I didn't want to get beat up, but I was a nerd, Star Trek watching nerd. But I was like, man, he looks mixed. Why? He looks like an octoroon. Why is he mad at me? And he was the most violent. And so one of the solutions I found was coming to terms with that part of us that we see in the other person that gets us so angry. Like I have had a lot of issue with Tesla drivers. I feel like Prius drivers are bad, but Tesla drivers are like really bad because their car drives for them. So what part of me do I need to come into touch with to say, Lord, help me to overcome this? So like, what is it? Do I want to drive a Tesla? Do I envy them? Or like, what is it? So how do you get that answer from God? God is speaking to us all the time. Like my dad says, God is speaking to us all the time, but not all of us listen. So how do you listen to God? Say, Lord, look, I got this hatred in my heart. It doesn't feel good in my spirit. I want to let it go. First and foremost, you pray. Prayer is not Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. It's not that. Prayer is saying, visualize a version of you where the hatred in your heart toward that group of people isn't there anymore. Like for me, I'll use the Tesla drivers. There's a part of me that looks forward into the future and sees myself getting cut off by a Tesla driver or have a Tesla driver run up on my bumper or something like that. And I'm not feeling any bad way about it. I don't feel anything about it. I don't even notice it. That's prayer. That's the first thing. Second thing is meditation. Just meditate on that vision. Say, like, what would it feel like for me to be free of the hatred in my heart for Tesla drivers? What would that feel like, Lord? Right? That smug look on the, I'm saving the environment. And then they're Tesla drivers. And then the next is scripture. There's so many beautiful verses like Isaiah 43, verse 18, 19, that talks about letting go of the things of the past and allowing God to show you something new. Verse 19 says, don't remember the former things. Don't remember who you were before. Don't remember the Tesla driver hating person that you were before, the stupid person that you were hating for, right? Don't remember that anymore. Let that go and become a new person, become a new being. Let a new mind come into you. So many good verses. Isaiah 43, 18 and 19. Jeremiah 33, verse 3. That's 333. That's an angel number. 33, verse 3. In Jeremiah, it says, call unto me and I will answer you and show you great and mighty works which you've not seen before. So open your heart up to God through scripture. Allow that to permeate your mind and permeate your soul. And then solitude. Solitude has been so powerful for me. That's the fourth thing. Solitude has been so powerful. Getting away from all the distractions, all the noises, getting away from people who would empathize with you over your hatred. I notice a lot of people say, oh, yeah, Tesla drivers are trash. They don't know how to drive, blah, 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 blah. And then they just help to like fuel that thing. Being alone in the silence and saying, Lord, I really want to work through this. I really want to overcome this, allows you to really see what's going on under the surface. Okay. And then finally, fellowshipping. I talked about solitude, but solitude comes before fellowship. Then you're going to fellowship with people that encourage you in your new walk, encourage you to move beyond your hatred of Tesla drivers. I don't really hate Tesla drivers. I just find them annoying. But I'm using that as an example, okay? If you're a Tesla driver, I don't hate you. I just think, smart cars make dumb people. Smart cars make dumb drivers. I'm joking. No, I'm not. Anyway, so that's what I have to say about that. A lot of times we hate in our hearts what we conceal. And anytime you hear someone preaching violent hatred toward a group of people, they are probably concealing an identity associated with that people, whether it's gay people or an ethnic group or perhaps a negative group in society, like those that abuse children or that sort of thing. They're probably harboring that. Even people that hate racists, they're probably racist underneath it all. Like some of the most racist people I've ever met have been the most anti-racist people. They're like, oh, and they just like, ugh, it's like, those are another group of people I don't care for, the anti-racist people, because they're the most racist people on the planet. But God is working with me, and I'm learning, and I'm really good at learning to love people. So anyway, that's what I got to say about that. Thank you guys, those of you who oh yeah, Bethany, welcome. Shalom, yeah, bless. Thank you, Bethany, for your comment. But yeah. That's what I have to say about that. I'm going to start putting out videos regularly on the weekends. It'll be Saturday and Sunday. Um, I work during the week, and I'm very engaged in my nomadic car life. And I'm always dialing things in and just making my life better every day. So that's just where I'm at. And thank you guys for watching. Thanks for sharing, liking, subscribing. And let me see. What should you put in the comment section? No, I'm not going to do that because I want to encourage that energy. But have a good day. Also, put 7 7. Let's see. What's a number of healing? That 999. Number of forgiveness. 999. Put 999 in the comments section below if you are ready to transform and end your hatred of groups of people or perhaps practices that you judge. Okay. Oh, another thing, like it can be anything. It doesn't have to be an ethnic group. It doesn't have to be a negative group in society or something like that. It can be people that are overweight or people that are skinny, or it could be anything. Any group of people that you see in the world and you say, I can't stand those people. You don't even have to hate them. You can be, I can't stand those people. I'm frustrated by those people. Put 999 in the comment section below if you're ready to let go of that. Okay? It's funny. I'll share this. When I was growing up, yeah, I'll share it. When I was growing up, I used to have an aversion. I'll say this, an aversion to a certain gender. No, we'll call it sex. A certain sex and a certain kind of. We'll just put it. I had an aversion to, I think, blonde girls or something like that. I had an aversion to them, and I think it came from when this one blonde girl like held me down and like kissed me in the mouth. I didn't like that. I was a little kid, and but I also was somewhat attracted to them. I'm really more attracted to brunettes, but I was somewhat attracted to them, and I think that I'll just be very, very transparent. So I was seventh or eighth grade, and they were these somewhat mildly attractive blonde girls in our class. I mean, by the standards that I have now. Back then, I thought they were hot, but I grew up in a family where it was not very like pro blonde girl for me. We're going to put it that way. And so what I did, instead of going along with my desire and attraction to these girls, I would vilify them. Oh, they're stupid and they're not pretty. They're not attractive. But the truth of it was that I found them attractive, and I thought they were pretty, and I thought they were feminine, and I thought all those things. But I didn't want to upset my mother, and so I took the anti-blonde girl stance, which was not genuine. It wasn't. I mean, there was some. It wasn't genuine. It wasn't authentic. It was not authentic. And so now, of course, I've grown beyond that, but I noticed that. And so anytime that I encounter something where I'm like frustrated by it, or I don't like it, or I'm hating on a group of people or something like that, whatever, like Tesla drivers, um, then I'm going to come to terms with the fact that perhaps I like it, or perhaps I want that. Um, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have as much hatred for Tesla drivers because I don't actually like the Tesla vehicle. So maybe like that's enough for me to get over it. Anyway, I just wanted to stay for the people that were watching. Thank you so much for being here, and thanks for those of you who subscribed and watched and liked and all that great stuff. I'll see you in the next video, whatever that video will be.